back with another car video. Maybe I'm just vlogging now. I'll make a playlist for the vlogs. Parking's extra tight at work. Alright, but I wanted to keep it going because we did something last week and consistency on my channel is not there. But so the first thing we gotta work with, Velma. Watched it again. Me and my girl sat down this week. This is our cause like I said last time, I don't know if it's like a morbid curiosity or a guilty pleasure or whatever, right? But she also enjoys watching the bad TV shows too, like talking shit about them or whatever, right? But boy, never thought I'd hear it. We watched episode 3, and she looks at me and goes, God, kind of wish we were just watching She-Hulk now. This is way worse. And I was like, oof, that's a bad metric to go off of. If your show is performing worse than... Well, I mean, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it's just getting worse and worse by the day. Because, like, last week, I think on a Tuesday, it was like 56% from the critics, right? And today, on a Wednesday, it's 47 from the critics. And all they got was 6 more... It was either 7 or 6 more critics made their reviews. And I was like, damn, I ain't never seen a show track like this. Normally, you know, it'll like peter out after the first week and then get to like some either average or below average score because the show's doing terribly. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's actually talk about it and not talk about the shit around it. So like episode 3 and 4, I don't know if I can really break it down by episode, because like it's funny in retrospect and it's funny to like make fun of it, but like watching the show itself is not funny. Like I think episodes 1 and 2, they might have got like 3 to 4 laughs an episode, right? Maybe, you know, and I'm including things like a loud breath, you know, like through your nose. I don't even know if you can hear that. But like one of those, or a choke, you know, just like, cause you know, not every laugh I do is like a full on like, like I'm cutting up. But sometimes it's just a, you know, and it's like that was funny enough to make me go, well, I mean, I guess it made me laugh, right? But like, I don't know, and I wonder if like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are gonna be even less funny. And I don't know, it's so tough. I wrote some notes to keep myself, how do you put it, on topic, on track. So episode 3, what was the name of the episode? I don't even know. I'm driving the car. But it's about like self-defense classes, right? So like we're off episode 1 and 2, right? It's established that there's a killer at the school, blah, blah, blah. First day when they get back, they're having like a ceremony, celebration type thing. Oh, I mean, yeah, I'll talk about this first, and then we'll go back to Velma's kiss, because that's where the episode actually starts at. But, oh, you know, fine, get up. Come on. And they gotta wait for that. Man, I feel like driving's distracting now. But, it's about self-defense. There's so many issues I have with this episode. It has nothing to do with the fact that, like, where do I even start? Because it's like there's so much, and it's like it's not even just like contained to this one episode. It's like I'll give them this because I know everyone online, the people that hate the show and love the show, all unanimously can agree that like whoever the team of people working on the animation, they're doing a pretty good job. Specifically, everyone likes to point out the hallucination scenes, which stylistically they're pretty neat, right? Like, I'm not sure if I'm like super big on the art style they chose for the show itself, but when like they have those scenes, they're kind of cool, right? Like, except for this newest one because it was like weird, but like the art's still there. Like you can tell somebody's like putting effort behind their drawings, whether it's like digital or whatever they use to make cartoons nowadays. But it's like it's about self-defense. And the lead up to the self-defense is the murder that I just recently talked about. And then after that murder happens, they have like a big pep rally. And it's like, oh, there's just so many things. So like at this pep rally, they make jokes about mental health. They make jokes, I don't know if it's misogynistic or misandrist, whatever it is, right? It's like you got the principal telling all the girls they have to take self-defense courses. And then Velma speaks up. And, at the truth of it, it's not bad that Velma stood up and said this. But it is kind of like, but y'all made the show and you chose to put this in there. So, like, the principal makes the comment about how the girls have to take self-defense courses, and they're going to spend 3 minutes working on mental health for, like, the whole school, I guess. And it's just like, what? 3 minutes? You're telling me people been getting murdered, and we've had 2 weeks without a murder. Now there's a new murder, and we're only going to get 3 minutes to make sure everybody's okay upstairs. All right. Then after you get that, like, she hands the mic over to her husband, who is Shaggy's dad, or Norval, because he's not Shaggy anymore. He's just Norval. I have to remind myself every time that I talk about this show that it's not Shaggy, it's Norval, who has a white dad. And there's nothing wrong with being mixed. I just think it's a little odd how, like, this show is like circle jerking itself for race swapping characters, while at the same time being, like, in my opinion, like, racist toward white people, a lot more so white men, because, like, they're constantly taking digs at Fred. I don't get it. They wrote it like this. Let's see, what else can I remember? I mean, Shaggy, he's just devolving into just somebody else on the show. Like, the first 2 episodes, other than other than Norval being this, like, simpy, beta male, whatever y'all are calling it these days, right? All I know is I hate seeing him act this way, because it's like, dog, why are you thirsting after this girl? And she really doesn't give a shit about anything you do other than, like, driving her places. Because, like, at the beginning of the episode, no, not the beginning, it's at some point she goes and sees Daphne and they talk, and then after her and Daphne have their talk, she like pouts or whatever and is like, Shaggy, where are you? You're supposed to take me home. And then she walks next door, because she lives next door to Daphne. So Daphne and Velma's house are next door, but somehow she expected Norville to come drive to her place, pick her up from Daphne's, and then drive her back home, which was literally like a 5 to 10 second walk in real time on the show. I mean, they skillfully craft characters that you do not like in this show. Like I said, I don't know if I said this last time. I know I've said it to people, because since I've watched the first 2 episodes, I've talked to folks about it, because everybody's like, is it as bad as they say it is? Some of them are like, I'm tempted to watch it just to see if it's that bad. And, like, for me, because folks have been like, don't hate watch TV show. Look, first off, any TV show that the internet and the general populace has hated, even with hate watching, none of those shows have actually been successful. Now, there are people that hate watch mediocre shows, and those shows do all right because it actually has a fan base of people that care about it. But when these shows are actually bad and people quote unquote hate watch them, they're not getting those views that you think they're getting. And I guess that just kind of like harkens back to the whole, like, when it released initially on HBO Max, it was the highest rated TV show, or like the most viewed TV show, actually. That's what they said, right? And I don't don't know if they I don't know if they specifically tailored the headline to be cartoons, because like I could totally see why that was the most viewed cartoon. Because for one, that week, nothing besides The Last of Us got released. So that's the only animated thing I know on HBO Max that got released that week. Now there might be something else, but nothing else was getting headlines. Nothing else was getting talked about. So it like thinking about this show still kind of boggles my mind. So let me just, because I can't do any of this shit in order. I don't have any clips to like reference with you guys, because like I watched it, and let me tell y'all, me and my girl, we watched the third episode 2 times. The first time we watched it, we just zoned out. We just started looking at our phones and stuff. Episode ended, we're like, I know the highlights, but like what actually happened here? So like we took a day or two, whatever, and then came back and tried to watch it. Rewatched it. I kind of zoned out like halfway through, because it's just like, I don't know if I'm zoned out because it's bad or because like I just don't care about some of the stuff they're doing. So like, okay, let me try to focus in real quick. So this show is very socially aware, woke, whatever you want to call it, feminist adjacent, LGBT, whatever. It's frustrating because it's like all these shows, right? They're doing the representation thing, which, like I always say, I feel like representation should benefit me as a black guy. Most TV shows, animation, live action movies, whatever, it's white folks, right? So like anytime I see black people on screen, it should be a big dub for me, right? So like seeing a black Shaggy or black Norville, because I keep calling him Shaggy, because this show is just like, it's fucking with me. Because it's like, you look at the show and you see Scooby-Doo characters and you expect Scooby-Doo activity, and there's no Scooby-Doo activity. So like, one thing that's getting me, right? It's like, okay, I say this all the time. If you make a show and the thing you're trying to do to sell the show is, hey, look, we have a character gay. Don't you guys come watch our show? I don't really think you can sell something purely off of character gay. Now, there might be some folks in some Twitter spaces or on YouTube that might think otherwise, but I think what you do is you have it doesn't even have to be a well-crafted story. It could be mediocre, and people will be like, oh, this is fun, right? There's a lot of stuff that's like mediocre, and people love it. They can't even do that. It's like, if you could just give me a decent, acceptable, or, I don't know, I guess easy to digest, like, just make the show digestible. Like, give us some substance. Like, give us something to actually follow and, like, build. Like, they kind of had something going with episode 2, right? You got Velma and Daphne, they're, like, kind of flirting, they're selling drugs, they're blushing at each other. If they had, like, kind of spaced that out a little bit, it might have been okay. But it's just like, you rush into it, they kiss at the end of episode 2. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Spoilers, right? Everywhere, spoilers. Because, like I said, I can't really just tell you things about, like, one episode in particular, because, like, all the issues I'm getting, they run through every episode. So, like I said, when it comes to the gay characters, I don't care if they're gay. Like, it's something I tell people all the time, and I'm sure there's other examples, because, like, I watch TV shows that have, like, more than just straight characters in them. Plenty of them. But, like, I can't think of them off the top of my head, because, like, this show is taking up, and I'm not going to say it lives rent-free, because, like, I actually have to, like, kind of go out of my way and be like, let me look up some Velma today. Let me see if somebody's saying anything new. But, it doesn't live in there rent-free, but it's definitely in there. I definitely put it there. God, it's just frustrating, man. Like, just give me a decent story. Oh, the example I was going to give. So, this is the example I always give people. So, you got the show Shameless, right? You've got Ian and whatever his boyfriend's name is, is it Mickey? Mikey? I don't know. He's real angry, real aggressive. They're super gay. But the aggressive one's, like, not the lead. The softer one is. So anyway, that gay couple, every time I watch Shameless, I'm on the edge of my seat wanting to know more about them, because there's more to them than just being gay. They're like actual people that live in that city, and they have their own problems and stuff they're trying to solve. Like, they're trying to pay bills, so what does the Mickey dude do? He ends up becoming a pimp, essentially. He's got these Russian women that are whores, and he's like, "Why is whore an acceptable word?" You know, whatever. This is my YouTube channel. But all that's besides the point. You see what I'm saying, though? Like, I'm following this guy because he's doing more stuff than just being gay. When all you have for your character is gay, well, then maybe you should add a little bit more to it. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the gay characters, right? I don't think there's any issue with Velma and Daphne being gay for each other. I really don't. It's just how they're presenting it to us. With something else. This show also doesn't know what kind of tone are we setting here? Like, is violence bad? Is violence good? Right? Is it just a joke? Because like episode 1, somebody's head, their brain's gone, but the top of their head falls off. Violence bad. Everybody's scared. But like literally right before you saw that brain fall out, Velma smacks Daphne in the forehead with a crowbar, and she flies across. I was about to say locker room, which I think it is a locker room, yeah. So, but they're in like the bath part, like the actual shower portion of the locker room. So that's what's throwing me off. I'm like, the bathroom? But it's not a bathroom. And then it's like, you got episode 2 where Fred's like, "Oh, I'm a little baby, I couldn't hurt anybody." And then like they make him upset because they're like, "Oh, he's just a man baby." And he's like, takes the knife. "Oh yeah, I could have stabbed those girls." And it's like, what are we doing here? And then they do a few more things that are kind of cross like that in episode 3 and 4 when it comes to violence, or specifically murder. But they also have like this same treatment about mental health too. And that part is very confusing to me, because it's like I said, they said we're going to spend 3 minutes on mental health, and it's like, what? And then I don't know. It's like you have these fucking hallucinations that the internet is calling panic attacks, and it's like, so is mental health a joke? Are we taking it serious? Because now we're going to get into Norval's dad, the therapist for the school. He makes it seem like he doesn't know what he's doing. He says he never even finished his degree. He tells Norville that the tricks of being a therapist is just wearing a cardigan because it disarms people and lets them talk. And then he whips out some magic trick because the cardigan's not going to do it for Velma because Norville already told her the secret. He just pulls out one of these little like Zen garden things that's got like a little waterfall in it, and the water cuts on, and she just glowy eyeballs. I must spill the beans. And I don't know. It's kind of like, are we like taking the piss out of mental health? It's very confusing to me. I'm not sure what we're supposed to be getting out of that. One of the things that is kind of neat that they did, they touched on Crystal Cove. They talked about some lore for the town itself. They're like, we call it Crystal Cove because we have these giant crystal caves that miners were mining stuff because they were looking for gold, but they ended up finding geodes and shiny crystals that are other colors than gold. And I thought that was interesting, right? Like, give the town some depth to it, right? So, like, now I actually know why we have Crystal Cove, right? It's just like over the years we've had all these different iterations of the cartoons, and then you had, like, the 3 live-action iterations, one being that I didn't watch, but the one that was on Cartoon Network where they were, like, in high school. It wasn't too bad. I kind of liked some of it. The first one was better than the second one, I'll say for sure. And then you got the live-action that had, is it Sarah Michelle Gellar? I don't know. The lady who played Velma, and she was wearing, like, the tight orange latex outfit thingy, and Seth Green was trying to date her. That movie franchise, which was good. I don't know, man. It's just really fucking me up because it's like there's some real simple stuff that you could do for the sake of this show, and it would just easily become a Scooby-Doo show. But I truly think the show would like do better if one, it wasn't like centered around Scooby-Doo characters. Like, sure, you can name them Velma, Daphne, Fred, you know, like these names, they're just names, right? But it's like the combination of the name with the outfits that they wear. Like that, like, I don't know what it is about that. And maybe it's just because, like, we actually care about these characters. So when you see someone dressed up this way, using their name as their moniker, and, like, acting completely different, and they tell you, this is the new Scooby-Doo show, and you're like, none of these people are Scooby-Doo. Oh, also, excuse me, but I feel like I'm getting fakey. So just the same exact way She-Hulk did. So the first 2 episodes, right? First 2 episodes of She-Hulk, they're kind of on topic, right? She's doing lawyer stuff. She's, you know, trying to figure herself out, you know, all the other bullshit that I've talked about with my friends in private. But it kind of seemed like they were going to try, right? There were a couple court cases in the first few episodes. But then after that, it's like once they've got you into it, and you're like, all right, now I just want to see them do their thing, but better. They completely switch it, and now we're just following this woman in her, like, her hookup adventures, right? So, like, she hooks up with, like, 2-3 guys over the course of the show, and that takes up, like, 5 or 6 episodes out of an 8-episode TV show. And here we are with Velma, again, first 2 episodes, they kind of had some mystery solving, kind of being very loose, because a lot of these mysteries they got in Velma aren't mysteries. It's like Velma's like, I need to find my mom, but it's like your mom left because you shot her with water and she hit herself in the eye with a cigarette, and then that eyeball eventually just fell out completely. You destroyed her book, and you also destroyed her liquor bottle, her fancy glass liquor bottle. Not even a bottle. It was like one of those things that you put your liquor in so you can get it out of the liquor bottle. One of those nice crystal looking, you know, containers. But you broke that, along with breaking her laptop that had, I'm assuming, another book on it. And now, it's just like episode 3 and 4 is just about Velma and Daphne being gay. And then episode 4, they kind of tried to bring some mystery solving back, because, like, Velma's like, oh, I can finally afford that private eye. I can get somebody to try and find out more information about my parents. And then, like, her and Norval do some exploring. Like, I feel like I'm leaving out so much, like, connecting bits, but all of it's pointless. It's all pointless, because it's like the only reason Norval even goes to see Daphne is because Velma likes Daphne. So Norval wants to figure out, well, what does Daphne do that I can copy so that maybe Velma can like me? And he does the exact same thing to Fred too. And it's just kind of like, Norval, why are you wasting so much time on this? Don't you have a food blog? Well, he probably shut that down because he found out weed smokers watch it, right? It's so ridiculous. And then, like I said, him and Daphne do a little bit of investigating. They go to the Crystal Cave, and they're going to try to find out some information to help out Daphne so that she can discover who her real parents are. And, like, Norval's like, oh, this is dangerous? Well, I don't do dangerous, so I'm about to get in the car. And then Daphne's like, oh, well, I've got no ride. So, mystery over. We're going home now. So, what? Like, all that work, all that, like, 15, 20 minutes of build-up of you going back and forth with him driving you around to, like, the Crystal Cave Society, whatever it's called, like the Historical Society or something. But, like, you got these guys, and they do all of this, you know, footwork, going around places, investigating, actually learning something, like, actually kind of trying to do mystery-solving things. And then you get to where the mystery should be. You're like, okay, this is the cave, right? We should go investigate this. There could be some clues in there, right? No, we're just going to go home because clues are scary, right? It's dangerous in there. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'll give him this. Norval did something I didn't predict. Because I didn't expect anyone to just go, well, I'm not going to go explore that. That's dangerous. Didn't expect that. That's something I've said about TV shows where, like, there's characters that go investigate and stuff. I'm like, man, what if y'all just left and didn't go investigate? Problem solved. And I mean, I guess problem solved, but, like, problem not solved. Because the overarching narrative of the show is, like, it's supposed to be about Mystery Inc. before they became Mystery Inc. I don't see any moment where, like, these characters are becoming friendlier. Now, granted, they're all kind of, like, associated with each other. They're all, like, talking to each other. But I don't see them being friendly or chummy. It's like Fred only kind of likes Daphne, and that's because she's hot. And that's because they wrote Fred as, like, the biggest misogynist possible, right? And it's like, Velma and Daphne kind of hate each other. But now they're like ooh-wooing over each other. Because, like, every time we touch, it's like blushy face. And, like, it's so dumb. It's like, just fucking make them gay. Fuck it. But, like, and here's something that kills me about Velma. So, like, Velma and Daphne, they're both bisexual, whatever, because they both have interest in men, but they're, like, ooh-wooing over each other, right? So tell me why every time Daphne would be, like, on the verge of explaining to Velma why she has to keep the facade or, like, keep acting the way she does with the popular girls in school. I'm parked, by the way, so I'm finna just unload whatever notes I got left at you. But instead of her, like, doing that and actually, like, explaining to Velma so they could be on the same page, either her popular girlfriends pop up and ruin the moment so we don't get the information, or Velma cuts her off when she could talk. Because it's like, there's a moment where Daphne's talking to Velma, and she's telling her about, she's like, I've got a lot to lose right now. And it's like, so what are you losing? Is it your popular friend group? Is it the facade that, like, you're still interested in Fred? Because, like, I don't even know if she actually likes Fred, because Fred is the key revolving point to everyone's mystery. Like, Velma's mom went missing when it comes to, like, that was the house that Velma's mom phone pinged from the last time it was found. It was at Fred's house. Daphne, whatever clues she's got related to her parents, relate to Fred. So, like, there's something going on with Fred's family that we're probably not going to get to see until episodes 8 through 10. And it's just like, we have to wait through all this bullshit. Because it's like, I guess I'm invested in this train wreck. It's like, the train's not on fire yet. It's just about to crash. The tracks, you can see where they end. But it's just like, I guess we have to sit here until it catches fire. But yeah, it's frustrating. Because it's like, Daphne seems like, out of all the characters, Norval is the most likable. And they're making him unlikable as the episodes go by. Maybe 5 and 6 will change that, though. Because he meets this girl, Gigi, at the end of episode 4. And he's like, ooh, she's kind of cute. But, Norval, only one that's kind of likable. And then you've got Velma's stepmom, who's not terrible. Out of all the people, she's not terrible. Like, everybody else is, like, just rude for no reason to everyone. At every moment they possibly can be. Specifically towards Velma. Like, everybody in the show hates Velma. And, like, after a while, you kind of feel like, should I hate Velma too? Like, nobody in town likes her. She makes herself unlikable. She's doing shit that, like, is just deplorable. It's upsetting. It's got me... Alright, let's see. What else we got here? You just walk away from it. We talked about the mental health thing, the self-defense. It's all... I guess I can round it back to the self-defense now. Velma stabs a woman with a pen because she doesn't want to be seen as vulnerable. What? And it's like, in this situation, you losing that fight because there's an 8-foot-tall woman dragging you out of the wrestling ring? It was not even wrestling ring. It's like fucking, like, Olympic wrestling mats. Like, you know, the high school wrestling, not like pro wrestling. It's like, this is Olympic style wrestling. They're just on a mat. And the objective is just get them out the ring, right? The circle. And it's just like, Daphne, no one would see you as vulnerable for being lifted up by an 8-foot tall woman who's hulking mass. No one's gonna see you as vulnerable. They're just gonna look at that woman and go, she's huge. They're not gonna think you're weak. They're gonna say she's huge, because that woman would probably pick anybody up and drag them out the ring. But you decided, I'm gonna take this book off my hip, get the pin out the fucking the binding, and then stab her. Not just once to make her let go of me, but several times. So much that the blood splurts on you, splurts on your parents, who are the people like officiating this event or whatever. It splatters onto the what do you call the little board when you've got like a tournament, right? Like the standings? No. Whatever you call the brackets. Blood splattered on the bracket. Like what? Let's see what else we got here. I already talked about this being like feminist or feminist adjacent, and then like instead of us actually having plot with like just having women as the leads, the plot devolves into why am I not dating someone, or who can I get to fuck me? And it's like, why do we care about who Velma's fucking? Why do we care about who Daphne's fucking? Why is there any conversation about like these characters fucking? Especially because they're high schoolers. I get it. Everybody loves making TV shows where they got high schoolers and they're fucking and doing drugs and all this other stuff. But as an adult, I don't care to see that. Like, I just don't. Like, put them in college, right? Like, I can totally get behind college kids doing drugs, having fun, fucking, blah, blah, blah. But, like, they're in high school. Like, they all live with their parents. I don't know. It just seems weird. Like, we start off, you got 15-year-olds in here. They're 16. Whatever grade they're in. They're never specific. They're just high schoolers. So they're all minors regardless of what age they are. Fucking they're naked episode 1, and they kiss in episode 2, and that's like that's whatever, right? And then like episode 3, you've got this shot of Velma climbing a fence, and it's her underwear have words written on the back like sexy underwear for adults, and it says smart ass, and it's just like. And then episode 4, you have like it's too horny. I don't understand why these shows that like get marketed as like feminist shows or like super inclusive representative shows are just like so horny. Like it bothers me, man, because it's like y'all could just go watch porn. Y'all could just actually make something that's adult and raunchy. Like, it's supposed to be raunchy, but like this doesn't feel right because y'all made it raunchy and you made everyone kids at the same time, and it's just like I feel like you guys are missing the point. Oh yeah, I also feel like I'm getting faked on the Scooby thing, because I don't know if I said it, but like everyone online is like, Scooby's not in it, blah blah blah, and we're all like, the few people that kind of are like I am, we're like, whew, thank God they didn't ruin 5 out of 5, they only ruined 4 out of 5. But folks are like, Scooby's gonna be this black girl, and then like we finally meet the black girl from the still image that's been shared all over Twitter of the girl eating dinner or lunch or brunch or whatever the fuck with Norville, who's supposed to be Scooby with an I, not a Y, because it's a girl name, because that makes such a big difference. But like, you meet her, and her name's Gigi. Now, is Scooby a nickname? Is Gigi a nickname? I don't know. We won't know until the next episodes. And like I said, I feel like I'm getting faked. And then my last sheet of notes. Everybody's rude. We spent 2 episodes talking about whether or not Velma's gay. And we're definitely feeling like she's... At the very least, she's bisexual. Because she, for whatever reason, was still fawning over Fred. Like, when Fred pulled up and was like, oh, I'm totally into you now because you made me read that like weird book, and now I'm thinking about the stuff that you value as a woman, and then she's like, oh, and then she's like, oh wait, but Fred's a misogynist doucher who only wants me for, I guess, sex. But that's another thing. It's like it's like she turns down Fred because Fred's problematic, and he's only wanting her because now that's what his his brain's been rewired to lust after. And it's like, but Fred isn't Fred's not even out here fucking. Cause in the very first episode, Daphne unzips his pants because she's like trying to get some, and he's like, "No, Daphne," and you find out he's not fucking because he's got like baby man body, and it's just, I don't know. I'm out of notes. I'm frustrated. I need to get in here, feed my dogs because I had a long day at work. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate it.